Hey, are you a high achiever who struggles with perfectionism? Do you get stuck in the cycle of overthinking? Do you do everything for everyone else because you think otherwise it won't get done? Do you feel like you should come with a disclaimer? Hi, I'm anxious. Hey, I'm Katy. Full disclosure, I'm not a therapist, doctor, or mental health professional. I'm just a career mama who also struggles with anxiety. For me, anxiety reared its head at the most inconvenient times, when I wanted to be present with my family, at those high pressure business meetings, when I was laying in bed awake at night worrying instead of sleeping. I just wanted to relax and be able to have fun, and I know that you do too. What if you found tools to manage your anxiety? What if you knew how to enjoy life even though you are anxious? Look, it's time to put down that third cup of coffee and swap it for some lemon water. We're going to get control over anxiety so it can stop controlling you. Let's go, girl. Dear sweet anxious high achiever, welcome to the High and Anxious podcast. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics. Favorite meaning it's something that is a topic that is not foreign at all to anxious high achievers, and that is overthinking. I know it's something that you struggle with. I can see that because when I've talked about it before on the podcast, it's something that is more popular in terms of downloads and listens and also comments from listeners. So I want to share with you a way that I have been working through issues with overthinking lately that has been successful. And it might sound overly simple, and just know that I totally understand that even though something might be simple, that doesn't mean that it's easy, sweet high achiever. So give yourself some grace there and I offer it to you as well. Simple doesn't mean easy, especially when it's something that you struggle with, like overthinking. So, something that I've been doing lately is using writing to overcome overthinking. I think that one of the reasons that it helps is it helps me to get the thoughts out of my mind and onto paper or into digital or electronic format in a way that helps me to see better. And I think what's interesting is that oftentimes when I sit down to write about something that I've been overthinking about, I feel like my mind goes blank, which is hysterical to me because it's like, all right, brain, you have had so much to say on this topic when it's just you and me alone. But when I sit down with a pen in my hand and some paper or at my computer to start typing, you freeze up and go quiet. What's up with that? So just something interesting to note that I'm sure you can probably relate to as well. But when I have started writing to help me with something I'm overthinking with, especially if it's something where I want to end up with a certain result or produce something specific that I have found to be really helpful. And so, for example, there is a project I'm doing in my business where I wanted to analyze data to help me make an informed decision. And so I pulled some data. I've combed through the data. I have spent about 3 months with this data at various times, just kind of picking through it. Is it accurate? How can I look at this? How can I best use it? How can I parse the data? What can I do with it to make it useful? And to some extent, I think sometimes it's helpful to spend some real time with information to make a decision on it. But that being said, I did not need to spend this long spinning in overthinking, overwhelm, indecision to get to the point I'm at. And I finally ended up making progress because I literally sat down with a Google Doc and just started typing. Okay, what am I seeing here? What am I noticing? And some of it is really basic. I notice XYZ. And I start with very fundamentals. And what I've noticed is it starts me moving. It gets me a little bit of momentum. And I start getting out of the overthinking and I'm actually doing. And it feels so good. And it's been amazing to me that I I think I spent just over 3 months between initially pulling my data together and finally starting to get some traction with what I'm seeing in the data, which has helped me decide what to do with it. And I sat down one day and for 30 minutes with this Google Doc, I got more done than I ever could have imagined I had gotten done. And I kind of laughed at myself at the end thinking, holy smoke, I spent 3 months thinking about this almost daily, and all it took was 30 minutes of sitting down with my Google Doc to actually get some progress made and feel good about it. Yep, that's all it took. And it felt so good. And instead of beating myself up about it, I did a little bit, I won't lie. But instead of spending a ton of time beating myself up about it, I realized I'm going to try this with some other things in my life. And I've done it. And it's been really minor stuff, from how do I plan out my time for the week to things that are maybe a little bit more major, like how am I going to make some long-term investment decisions. So I just sit down and I write, and I start with something. It does not have to be anything magic. Sometimes I'm struggling to make a decision on this. And then I start writing down, typically what's next for me is facts. What do I know about the situation? Here's what I want the outcome to be, or here's what I know I have in place right now. Here are the supports that I have to help me if I need supports. Not earth-shattering, really simple. I know, not easy. But I wanted to share this with you because I want you to try it this week. I want you to think of something that you have been overthinking, and I want you to sit down with a Google Doc or pen and paper, and I want you to just start writing about it. You don't have to use any specific format. It doesn't need to be perfect and beautiful. It just needs to be something. Just say something about it. And I guarantee once you get going, you're going to start moving through that overthinking. You're going to start seeing your thoughts really take some actionable, helpful shape to move you out of your overthinking and move you beyond, dear sweet high achiever, which you so deserve. You absolutely deserve to use your beautiful brain and all of that wonderful information you have in it for your good, rather than as a weapon against yourself, because I think that's what happens with overthinking. We know so much, we have so many options available to us, and then we weaponize it against ourselves by spinning in the indecision, by telling ourselves we shouldn't be spinning in the indecision, and then being stuck in it and feeling frustrated, kind of on a loop. That's my encouragement for you today, sweet high achiever. I want you to just sit down and write about something that you've been overthinking, and then see the magic that unfolds. And I would love for you to come join my free Facebook group if you're not already a member. The link to join is in the show notes. It is an incredible community of wonderful, amazing, high-achieving women just like you. I would love to see you there. And if you're willing to post about how you use this tool to get you out of some overthinking, that would be so incredible and so encouraging for the people in that group, and I'd love to hear about it. That's all I have for you today, sweet high achiever. Thanks so much for joining me, and I can't wait to talk with you next week. Hey friend, thanks for being here. Did today's episode help you feel more in control of your anxiety? Did it inspire you to rest or relax? Or maybe it challenged you to really look at why anxiety is a part of your life? If so, I'd love to hear from you. If you would take 30 seconds, pause this episode, scroll down in Apple Podcasts, and leave me a review, I would be so grateful. See you next week. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, and this podcast is not providing therapy or medical treatment. Contents of the podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider with your health questions and concerns.